All my best friends represent vertebrates. Now that you've learned about each vertebrate group, you know many characteristics that taxonomists use to classify these animals. Who wants to try naming the 5 groups of animals that make up vertebrates in our animal kingdom? Why do scientists classify organisms? Because there are so many living things on Earth, it gives scientists a way of studying them by showing their relationships. And how do they classify them? They look for common or shared characteristics. What are some of these common characteristics? You've learned that some animals are warm-blooded and others are cold-blooded. Some are vertebrates and others are invertebrates. You've also learned that there are many other ways to classify animals into smaller and smaller groups. The scientific classification system, taxonomy, uses these names: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species to describe the groups from largest to smallest. When they classify animals, taxonomists compare and contrast animal habitats, physical characteristics, skin coverings, feeding habits, and reproduction. Today we're going to look at 7 different locations on planet Earth, one of each of the continents of the world. We can use our new skills to practice classifying a few of the animals that live in each place. First stop, the American desert. Here are some examples of animals you might find in this North American desert: the western diamondback rattlesnake, the Gila woodpecker, the desert bighorn sheep in the background, the roadrunner, the banded Gila monster, the bobcat, and the turkey vulture. Just by looking at these animals, are you able to classify them? The bobcat and the sheep are both covered in fur, so we know they are mammals. What about the Gila monster? It's a reptile, one of the only 2 venomous lizards in America. What kind of animal is this rattlesnake, which is also covered in scales? Yes, it's a reptile. It's a venomous one as well, and it is one of the few reptiles that give birth to live young. Great job! Let's move on to the Amazon rainforest in South America. Native to the rainforest are the spotted jaguar, the green anaconda, the 3-toed sloth, the red-bellied piranha, the blue and yellow macaw, the pink-toed tarantula, and the caiman, which looks like a small crocodile. The anaconda and the caiman are both covered in scales. The bird should be an easy one to spot. The only one with wings and feathers is the macaw, and the piranha should be familiar to all of you. These are Paulo's fish relatives. The jaguar and the sloth both belong to the same group. Who can name that group? Yes, they are mammals. We can tell because they're covered in fur. As you have learned, mammals give birth to live babies. Does this dark, hairy spider belong in one of the vertebrate groups we studied? No. The pink-toed tarantula is an invertebrate. It's cold-blooded and it has an exoskeleton, and it is a member of the arachnid group, high alpine mountains of Europe. What do you see in the background? There on the rocks. The rock ptarmigan lives in the Alps. So does the black alpine salamander, the marmot, the golden eagle, the Apollo butterfly, and the pine marten. Which one do you think is not a member of any of the vertebrate groups we studied? Yes, it's the butterfly. It is an invertebrate. And these are classified in the largest groups of animals on Earth: insects. The black alpine salamander shares characteristics with both a lizard and a frog. Think about how you would classify it. It's a moist-skinned amphibian, but an unusual one that lives only on land and gives birth to fully developed live young. What 2-legged feathered animals do you see? Yes, the birds' pictures are the ptarmigan and the gold eagle, And mammals, are there any fur-covered creatures in the Alps? Yep, the marmot and the pine marten. The Ganges Delta of India on the continent of Asia is home to swamps, forests, and creeks. The animals that live there include the black-crowned night heron, the wild boar, the olive ridley turtle, the Ganges river dolphin, the Indian python, the blue-eared kingfish, the mugger crocodile, and the chital. Can you spot the cold-blooded reptiles here? Yep, the crocodile, the turtle, and the python are all representatives of the reptile group. Which ones are warm-blooded mammals? The boar, or wild pig, the chital, a common deer of this area. The polluted waters of the Ganges River have ruined the habitat for a number of animals, and the river dolphin is endangered because of the river's pollution. Only one of 4 river dolphin species in the world, it is a mammal, just like its ocean-loving relatives. The Ganges River dolphin is sometimes called the blind dolphin. Each of its eyes lacks a lens to give it clear vision, but it still uses its eyes to help find its direction. And, of course, our feathered friends of the sky, the kingfisher and the heron, are both birds. I bet you've seen pictures of many large game animals that make their homes in the savannas of Africa. They include the giraffe, the elephant, the hyena, the wildebeest, the lion, the zebra. All of these animals belong to the same group of vertebrate animals. What are they? Yes, mammals. Birds like the hornbill and the kila live there as well, and venomous reptiles, snakes, and the gaboon and the black mamba are deadly to their prey in the savannas. Finally, let's look at Antarctica, the southernmost continent and one of the coldest places on Earth. Emperor penguins live in its icy waters, along with blue whales and humpback whales, leopard seals, skuna, and snow petrels spend half the year in darkness in this frozen coastal region. Only 2 vertebrate animal groups are found on the land in Antarctica. What are they? That's right, mammals and birds. You'll learn that these 2 groups also share another common characteristic as well. Mammals and birds are both warm-blooded. The energy in the food they eat is used to warm their bodies and keep them from freezing. These Antarctic animals survive in harsh frozen conditions, and they are largely dependent on krill, tiny shrimp-like crustaceans with exoskeletons that live in the waters beneath the ice packs. They are the primary or main source of food for the predators of Antarctica. As you can imagine, living in extreme cold of Antarctica presents a major challenge to cold-blooded animals. A few fish have adapted in an interesting way to survive the cold water surrounding Antarctica. The ice fish has a special chemical on its body that acts like an antifreeze and keeps it from freezing. A few invertebrates have found their interesting ways to survive in cold temperatures of Antarctica. Some might survive by living in the fur of mammals or in the feathers of birds, close to the warmth of their warm-bodied hosts. Now you've seen a sample of the animals that live on each of the 7 continents. There are so many interesting facts about Earth's animals. Before I go, let's each share one interesting fact that you've learned about vertebrates. Think for a moment about the interesting fact that you wish to share. It's been so much fun for me to be with you again. I'm so proud of all that you've learned about the animal kingdom over the past few days. I look forward to seeing you soon again. In the meantime, I encourage you to keep your eyes open. As you see an animal or read about an animal, Think about how you would classify it. Next time we're together, perhaps you can tell me about your discoveries. Until then, goodbye.